Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're engaging in a bit of a social experiment. I want you to picture that person. You know the one I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah, the one who's holding court in the middle of the room.
Exactly. You walk into a conference, a wedding, whatever, and there's someone who just seems to have their own gravity.
They seem to glide while everyone else is sort of trudging through the social mud.
They're gliding. That's the perfect word. They've got the best job, the most interesting stories, and everyone is like physically leaning in, just hanging on every word.
And if you're like most people, you're standing by the snack table.
I'm always by the hummus dip. Always. Holding a lukewarm drink, and I'm just thinking, okay, what do they have that I don't? Is it just that they're smarter, better looking? Is it just money?
It's the universal anxiety. We see these people, and the author we're looking at today, Leo Lowndes, calls them big cats or big winners, and we just assume it's something they were born with.
Right. It's genetic. They just have this it factor.
We tell ourselves, oh, they're just an extrovert, a natural charmer, and it kind of lets us off the hook, you know?
Yeah, it's an easy excuse. But that's why today is so interesting. We're diving into this massive collection of techniques from the book, How to Talk to Anyone. And its main idea, honestly, it's one of the most relieving things I've read all year, but it's also a little controversial.
It is, yeah. Because the core thesis is that charisma isn't a personality trait at all.
It's a skill set.
It's a learned skill. Lowndes basically argues that success in life, socially and professionally, it's not about your genes or your luck. It's about having a bag of tricks.
Okay, and I have to admit, when I first read Bag of Tricks, my guard went way up. It sounds so manipulative. Like, if I have to learn how to smile, am I not just being a sociopath?
That is the first reaction almost everyone has. We're all taught to value authenticity.
Right, just be yourself.
But Lowndes reframes it in a way that I think is crucial to get before we jump into the tactics. She argues that what we often call authenticity is, well, it's just laziness. We're reacting on social autopilot. A big winner is someone who has mastered the art of making other people feel special, making them feel confident and heard and understood. So it's not about tricking people into liking you. It's about having the social competence to make every interaction smooth and positive for the other person.
So it's less about manipulation and more about kindness, but with a strategy.
Kindness wrapped in skill.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's about going from being a little leaguer, which, let's be honest, is where most of us are, stumbling through awkward silences, to being a big winner.
And we're not talking about vague advice here. It's not be confident. We are going to break down some of the 92 specific techniques from this book.
92. Yeah, it's a huge toolkit. And obviously we can't do every single one, but we've grouped the most powerful ones into themes.
Our mission today is to give you that toolkit,
Yeah.
to sort of hack the social hierarchy. And what's wild is how much of this happens on a subconscious level.
It really does. We're going to look at how to win the first 10 seconds of an interaction, how to master small talk, even if you absolutely despise it, and, how to sound like a VIP without coming across as arrogant.
I am ready to learn the magic. So let's unpack this. Where do we even start?
We have to start where every single interaction starts, in the silence.
The first impression.
The first 10 seconds. The source material really hammers this home. Before you even open your mouth, something like 80% of the impression you make is already set in stone.
80%. Seriously,
Whoa.
that's terrifying. That means if I trip walking in the door, I've already lost the room.
The stakes are high, yeah, but it's also a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Lowndes tells the story about an artist friend of hers, a guy named Robert Grossman, who draws these amazing caricatures for big magazines.
Okay.
And he told her that he can capture a person's entire personality just by looking at them. Their posture, the way they hold their head, their expression. He doesn't need to hear their life story. As Lowndes puts it, the body shrieks before the lips speak.
Wow. The body shrieks. I like that. So if our bodies are shrieking, we need to make sure they're saying the right things. I guess the first thing people notice is your smile, right?
Yeah.
But the book says most of us are smiling wrong. How can you smile wrong?
You can smile too fast. It's what she calls the quick smile. You meet someone and instantly snap you, flash this big grin. It's a reflex.
Well, yeah. It's polite.
It is polite, but it's also valueless in a high-stakes
Yeah.
situation. It feels, I don't know, plastic. It's the same generic smile you give to everyone, from the CEO to the person who holds the door for you.
So it doesn't make the person feel special because it's automatic. It's not for them.
Exactly. It has no sincerity because there was no thought behind it. To be a big winner, you need to use what she calls the flooding smile.
Okay, the flooding smile. Walk me through the mechanics of that.
All right, so here's the technique. When you meet someone new, you do not smile immediately. You look at their face for just a second, you pause, you sort of soak in their persona, and then you let a big, warm, genuine smile flood over your face and, crucially, reach your eyes.
That pause, that split-second delay, doesn't that feel super awkward while you're doing it?
It feels like an eternity to you because you're in your own head, but to the other person, it feels like you actually saw them. It makes the smile feel genuine and, more importantly, personalized. It's for them.
It's a reaction to them, not just a default setting.
Right. And she even mentions a study showing that women in business who have that slightly slower smile are perceived as more credible.
That makes total sense. It's the difference between a reflex and a recognition. Okay, so delay the smile, let it flood the face.
Huh.
Got it. What's next? The eyes. Make eye contact is probably the oldest advice in the book, but I'm guessing there's a trick here too.
There is, and this one is really potent. She calls it sticky eyes.
Sticky eyes. That sounds a little gross, to be honest.
It can be if you overdo it, but the concept is to pretend your eyes are glued to your conversation partners with, like warm, sticky taffy.
Okay.
So even after you finish speaking, or they have, you don't immediately break eye contact. You let your gaze linger for a beat longer. You imagine stretching that taffy until the little string finally breaks.
And that signals what? Intense focus.
Intense interest. It tells the other person, I am absolutely captivated by what you're saying, or just by you. We often look away when we're thinking or when a silence falls, and that breaks the connection. Sticky eyes maintains that connection through the pauses.
But I feel like there has to be a warning label on this one.
There is, and it's a big one. There's a gender dynamic here.
Ah, here we go.
For a woman talking to anyone, or a man talking to a woman, sticky eyes is incredibly powerful. It builds intimacy and trust. But if you are a man using sticky eyes on another man...
It probably looks like I'm about to start a fight with him.
Exactly. It can come across as aggressive, a challenge. It's a primal stare down. So guys, maybe dial back the stickiness a little with other men unless you're actually trying to intimidate them.
Good to know. Don't start bar brawl with my eyes. Okay, so there's a version of this for groups too, right? Something called epoxy eyes.
Yes, and this one is for when you're in a group of 3 or more people. Normally, we look at the person who's speaking, right? It's just basic politeness.
Yeah.
But a big winner uses epoxy eyes. They focus their attention on the listener.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Someone else is talking, but I'm looking at the person who's just listening to them, the person I want to connect with.
That's the one. You are watching your target's reaction to what is being said.
Wow, that seems incredibly confident. It almost feels like you're judging the room or something.
In a way, you are. It sends this powerful subliminal signal that you are an evaluator. You're more interested in their opinion and their reaction than you are in the speaker's words.
And there's some brain chemistry involved here too, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets wild. Intense, focused eye contact can trigger the release of a chemical called phenylethylamine.
Phenylethylamine. Okay, that sounds serious.
It's the same stimulant that's released in your brain when you're falling in love.
Yeah.
So by holding that gaze, even across a room while someone else is talking, you are basically simulating the chemical rush of attraction and deep connection. You make them feel incredibly seen.
We're literally hacking their brain chemistry. That is amazing. Okay, so we've got the smile, the eyes. What about the rest of the body?
Posture. But, you know, stand up straight is boring advice that makes you look stiff.
Right, like a soldier.
So Lowndes uses this great visualization she calls hang by your teeth.
That sounds painful.
It's a circus analogy. Just imagine you're an acrobat and you're hanging from a bit in your mouth high above the center ring.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
When you do that, your neck naturally elongates, your head lifts up, your spine aligns perfectly, and all your muscles stretch out. It gives you this posture of effortless confidence without looking rigid.
It's incredible how a mental image can change your physical state so much. If I think stand straight, I tense up, but hang by your teeth feels lighter, more aligned.
Exactly. And speaking of visualization, there's another technique in the section that I think is my favorite for just blasting through social anxiety. It's called Hello, Old Friend.
Oh, this is the self-fulfilling prophecy one.
Yes. Yes. So when you meet a stranger, your body naturally tenses up. It's an evolutionary thing. We're scanning for threats. We're on guard. The technique is to mentally visualize that this new person is actually a dear old friend you haven't seen in years.
So you're basically tricking your own brain.
You're tricking your body. The second you imagine they're an old friend, your eyebrows soften, your smile becomes real, your posture opens up. You don't even realize you're doing it.
But they do.
They pick up on it subconsciously, and because you're projecting all this warmth and openness, they unconsciously mirror it back to you. It creates this immediate positive feedback loop of rapport.
I love that. It takes all the pressure off. You're not performing for a stranger. You're just reconnecting with a friend.
Precisely. And that leads perfectly into one of the most charming concepts in the whole book, the big baby.
The big baby. Okay, please tell me I don't have to wear a diaper to my next networking event.
No diapers involved. But think about how you react when a cute baby comes into the room.
Right. You give your full attention. You turn your whole body towards it. You smile. You don't give a baby the cold shoulder.
You pivot completely. You give that baby 100% of your attention. Lowndes argues that inside every single adult is a big baby, still craving that same level of undivided focus.
Huh. The inner infant.
Most of us, when we're introduced to someone, we give them a half turn. We keep our feet pointed towards the door or our friends. The big baby pivot is the technique of turning your entire body, your torso, your toes, everything, directly toward a new acquaintance. It non-verbally screams, for this moment, I think you are the most important person in the world.
It's such a small physical move, but I can totally see the huge psychological impact. It says, I am dropping everything for you.
Exactly. So, okay, we've flooded them with a smile, we've stuck our eyes to them, we've pivoted like they're an adorable toddler. Now comes the hard part.
We actually have to say something.
We have to talk.
The dreaded small talk. I honestly feel like small talk phobia should be a real medical condition. I hate asking, so what brings you here? It feels so empty.
It is empty, but the source material reframes it beautifully. Don't think of small talk as an exchange of boring facts. Think of it as mood matching.
Mood matching, like with music.
Exactly like music. Before you say a single word, sample the listener's mood. Are they upbeat and energetic? Are they slow and thoughtful? Are they stressed out? Lowndes calls this make a mood match.
So if they're adagio slow and calm, and I come in allegro fast and loud, it's going to clash.
It's going to clash horribly. You have to match their energy first. You can try to shift it later, but you have to start where they are. If they're complaining about the terrible traffic, don't immediately chirp, well, my drive was great.
Right. You join them in their traffic misery for a second. Validate it.
Exactly. And once you've matched the mood, what do you actually say? The advice here is wonderfully liberating. It almost doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Not really. The technique is called prosaic with passion. You can talk about the most boring, prosaic thing in the world, the weather, the long line for drinks, the lint on your jacket. But if you say it with genuine passion and empathy, you sound fascinating. It's like 80% delivery, 20% content.
So I can complain about the humidity, but if I do it with flair and a smile, I'm a master conversationalist.
But it's usually better to be positive than to complain. But yes, saying, I cannot believe this weather. The big smile and real energy is 1,000 times better than some brilliant intellectual observation delivered in a flat monotone.
That's a relief. Now, what if you want people to approach you? I love the idea of being a social magnet instead of having to hunt people down.
Then you need a what's it.
Oh, what's it?
Well, what is it? It's a conversation starter that you wear, a really unique tie, an interesting pin, a bizarre watch, a cool necklace, something that gives another person a super easy excuse to walk up and ask, excuse me, what is that?
That's genius. You're basically throwing a social life preserver to all the other shy people in the room. You're giving them a free pass to say hello.
It's an act of kindness to the entire room. But let's say you're the one doing the approaching. The book has a few detective techniques for this. There's who's that, which is just asking the host for an introduction or some info on someone.
Simple enough.
But my favorite is eavesdropping.
That sounds incredibly rude. My mother specifically taught me never to eavesdrop.
It sounds rude, but it's socially savvy if you do it right. You just stand near a group and listen for a hook, a word or a topic you know something about. Then you just slide in with, excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear you mention scuba diving in Belize. I was just there last year.
So you wait for an invitation that isn't really an invitation.
Right. It bridges that awkward gap. And once you're in the conversation, your main job is to keep it alive. This is where most people fail. They give naked answers.
Naked answers. We're keeping this PG, right?
It's conversational nudity. It's when someone asks, where are you from? And you just say, Chicago, and then stop.
Oh, man. I do this all the time when I'm nervous. I just answer the direct question and then shut up.
And it forces the other person to do all the heavy lifting. They have to come up with another question out of thin air. The technique is never the naked city, always add a hook. I'm from Chicago, home of the best deep dish pizza on the planet. Have you ever tried it? Now they have something to respond to.
And I'm guessing this applies to jobs too.
Never the naked job. Don't just say, I'm a software engineer. Say, I'm a software engineer, so I basically get to solve puzzles for a living, which is pretty fun.
That's so much better. It gives it flavor. It gives them a thread they can pull on.
And it allows you to rescue a conversation if it starts to die. The book has a few rescue moves. One is being a word detective.
A word detective.
You listen to their sentences for little clues about what they really want to talk about. So if they say, ooh, I was working on this boring report all day, but the sunlight was hitting my garden so beautifully.
Forget the report. Ask about the garden.
Exactly. The garden is the real story. The report is just the wrapper. Another great rescue move is parroting.
Like a parrot. Squawk.
Almost. This is actually a classic technique from therapy. If you have absolutely no idea what to say next, just repeat the last 2 or 3 words they said, but as a question.
Give me an example.
They say, I just got back from a trip to Patagonia. You say, Patagonia.
And then they're just compelled to explain more.
They have to. It encourages them to elaborate. It makes you look like a fantastic listener, and it buys you a few seconds to think of a real question. It's a perfect little trick.
That's a classic. What about this encore technique?
Encore is for when there's a lull in a group conversation. You turn to someone you already know in the group and you tee them up. You say, hey, tell them about that time you accidentally ended up on stage at that concert. You ask for a repeat performance of a story you know they tell well.
It's a social assist. It makes them the star and saves the silence.
I like that. Okay, so we're chatting. The ball is rolling. Now we want to elevate things. We want to sound like a VIP. A big cat. The book has a very, very specific rule about the question, what do you do?
Yes, and this is one of the most counterintuitive but important points. Big cats almost never ask, so what do you do?
Really, but that's the first thing everyone asks. It's like the standard American greeting after hello.
Which is precisely why big cats avoid it. For one, it can be seen as classist, like you're immediately trying to size them up and see if they're important enough to talk to. Okay, I can see that.
Or it can just be intrusive. What if they just got laid off? What if they hate their job? So instead, a big winner asks, so how do you spend most of your time?
How do you spend most of your time? That's so much softer.
It's so much more gracious. It's an open door. It lets them talk about their job if they want to, or their amazing hobby, or their kids, or the fact that they're retired and loving it. It lets them define themselves on their own terms.
And when you're answering questions about yourself, you need to have a nutshell resume ready.
Exactly. You shouldn't have just one answer for what you do. You should tailor it to who you're talking to. The book calls it the benefit statement. If you're talking to a potential client, you frame your job in terms of how you help them. If you're talking to a potential date, you might frame it in a completely different, more exciting way.
It's just basic marketing for yourself. Know your audience.
100%. And speaking of how you present yourself, your vocabulary is a huge signal. Big winners avoid cliches. Don't touch a cliche with a 10-foot pole is the rule.
Because it makes you sound unoriginal.
And unintelligent. They also trash the teasing.
Trash the teasing. I thought good-natured teasing was a sign of affection.
It can be, between very close friends. But in the wider world, teasing is often a low-status move. People make jokes at others' expense to try and elevate themselves. High-status people, the big cats, never make someone else the butt of a joke. It's a cheap laugh that costs you way too much in respect. VIPs lift people up.
That's a really important distinction, and there's one little linguistic trick that I think changes everything, the one called commusunication.
Oh, this is so simple but so potent. Just start more of your sentences with the word you instead of I.
Give me an example.
Okay, so instead of saying, I think this is a really great restaurant, you say, you are going to love the food at this restaurant. Instead of, I want to show you this report, you say, you'll find this report really interesting. It subtly pushes the listener's pride button. It makes the entire conversation about them. You become the guide, and they become the hero of the story.
It's so subtle, but I can feel how that shifts the entire energy of the interaction. Now let's get into the deeper stuff. Building real rapport. Becoming an insider. How do you fake being an insider in a world you know nothing about?
You learn a little bit of their gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook.
It's the insider jargon. Every single profession, every hobby has its own unique language. If you just learn a few of their key terms, you can open so many doors.
Like knowing the difference between a boat and a ship if you're talking to a sailor.
Exactly. Or knowing that accountants are always worried about liability insurance, or that teachers are stressed about standardized testing. That's the technique of bearing their hot button. You find out what the burning issues are in their specific industry.
So you don't need to know the answers. You just need to know the right questions to ask.
Yes, and you can find this stuff so easily. The technique is read their rags. If you know you're going to a party with a bunch of architects, spend 10 minutes reading an architecture blog. You don't need to become an expert. You just need enough information to ask one intelligent question.
Now, what about mirroring? We've all heard about copying someone's body language, but the book goes a step deeper with echoing.
Echoing is linguistic mirroring. It's incredibly subtle. You listen for the specific, unique words they use to describe their world, and you use those exact words back.
Okay, so if they say, I have a lot of work to do at the firm, I shouldn't say, so how long have you been at the company?
You should say firm, because firm is their tribal language. To them, it's not the same thing. If they say, I'm absolutely exhausted, you don't say, wow, you look tired. You say, what's making you so exhausted? It creates this deep subliminal comfort. It tells their brain, this person gets me. We speak the same language.
And you can take this to the next level with sensory empathy. This feels a little bit like NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
It's very related. The idea is that people tend to process the world through a dominant sense. Some people are visual. They'll say things like, I see what you mean.
Others are auditory. That sounds right to me.
Or kinesthetic. I feel like that's the right move.
And the trick is to match their sensory language.
Yes. The technique is anatomically correct empathizers. If they say, I just can't see a way out of this problem, you don't respond with, I hear you. You say, yeah, the path forward looks pretty blurry to me too. You match their sense. It makes them feel understood on a neurological level because you are literally speaking their sensory dialect.
That is some high-level stuff. And once you've built that kind of rapport, you can create instant history.
This is such a great shortcut to friendship. You find one small shared moment, maybe you both laughed at the same joke or something funny happened at the buffet, and you turn it into a private inside joke. You reference it later in the conversation.
Hey, there goes that waiter again.
Exactly. It instantly creates a feeling of we against the world.
Speaking of we, there's the technique of the premature we.
Yes. You just start using words like we and us really early in a conversation. Instead of, what do you think of this party? You ask, so what do we think of this party? It subconsciously signals that you're already a team. It fast-forwards the relationship from the stranger stage right to the friend stage.
Okay, so we're friends now. We're a team. Let's talk about compliments. Everyone loves getting a compliment, but they can backfire so easily. They can sound slimy or like you want something.
Sincerity is absolutely key, but the delivery method is everything. The book distinguishes between praise and flattery. One of the absolute best ways to deliver praise is through grapevine glory.
Which means telling someone else the compliment.
Exactly. You tell a mutual friend, you know, Jane is absolutely brilliant at managing projects, knowing that it will get back to Jane.
Why is that better than just telling Jane directly?
Because a direct compliment can sometimes feel like it has an agenda. Nice presentation, by the way, can you help me with this? But a compliment that travels through the grapevine feels like the unvarnished truth. It has so much more credibility because you said it when they weren't even there to hear it.
That is so smart. And you can also be the carrier pigeon. Be the one who delivers the compliment from someone else. Hey, Jane, Bob was just telling me you completely crushed that presentation.
Right. Bob looks good, you look good for passing it on. And Jane feels great. Everyone wins. But when you are face-to-face, you can use stealth compliments. These are my favorites for business settings because they don't stop the flow of the conversation.
Okay, what's a stealth compliment?
So instead of saying, you are very smart, you use implied magnificence. You say, since you're so knowledgeable about this market, I'd love to get your opinion on something.
Ah, so the compliment is just baked into the premise of the question.
Exactly. Or there's accidental adulation, where you slip it into a parenthetical phrase. Given your track record, which is amazing, by the way, how would you handle this situation? You almost throw it away. It makes it harder for them to deny it because it wasn't the main point of your sentence.
And if you really want to bring out the big guns, if you want to make a huge impact,
then you use the killer compliment.
Yeah.
And Lowndes warns, this is a lethal weapon. You identify a specific, unique quality about them. Not nice shoes, but something about their character or their energy. You look them directly in the eye, you say their name, and you deliver it with total sincerity. Sarah, you have this incredible ability to make everyone in a room feel completely at ease.
Boom. Yeah, that would land hard.
It creates a permanent, positive memory, but you have to use it sparingly. It's way too powerful for everyday use.
And what if someone compliments you? I feel like most of us are terrible at this. We deflect. We say, oh, this old thing, I got it on sale.
Which is a huge mistake, because you're basically insulting the giver's taste. You're telling them they're wrong to admire it. The technique is called boomeranging. You simply accept the compliment and toss the positive energy back to them.
So what would that sound like?
That's such a kind thing for you to say, or, wow, I really appreciate you noticing. You validate their kindness instead of invalidating their compliment.
I really love the tombstone game for creating deep connections. This one felt a little morbid at first, but I totally see the value now.
It's profound. You ask someone, maybe not in the first 5 minutes of meeting them, what they would want written on their tombstone.
And that reveals their deepest core value,
Yeah.
what they're most proud of. It might be she was a devoted mother, or he was an honest man.
And once you know that, you have the key. You tailor all your future compliments to that specific identity. If he wants to be known as an honest man, you compliment his integrity, not his new watch. It hits them right in the soul because it aligns perfectly with their ideal self.
Let's shift gears to mechanics. Phone calls and parties. The phone is so tough because you lose all that body language and eye contact we talked about earlier.
You lose something like 30% of your energy and 100% of your visual cues, so you have to compensate. Lowndes suggests using talking gestures.
Which means what, exactly?
It means you have to verbalize all your nods and facial expressions. In person, I can see you nodding along. On the phone, if you're just nodding silently, all I hear is dead air. You have to say, uh-huh, I see. Oh, that's interesting. You have to replace the visual feedback with audio feedback, or the other person feels like they're talking into a void.
And the name shower. That one's pretty straightforward.
Use their name more often than you would in person. That's a great point, Bob. So what do you think, Bob? It helps to recreate the intimacy that the physical distance steals.
I also love the, oh, wow, it's you technique.
This one is great. You answer the phone in a warm, professional tone, but then, when you realize who it is, you let this huge burst of extra warmth and excitement come through in your voice. Hello? Oh, John, hey! How are you?
It makes them feel like they're the one person you were hoping would call all day.
Exactly. Even if you were secretly hoping for the pizza delivery guy, you make them feel like the priority.
Okay, now, getting past gatekeepers. The sneaky screen.
This one is pretty crafty. If you call and ask, is Miss Jones available? The assistant's brain automatically goes into defense mode. Who's calling? What's this regarding? But if you call and say, hi, is she in? Just using the pronoun, it implies familiarity. It sounds like you're already a friend or an important colleague.
And you always salute the secretary.
Or the spouse or whoever the gatekeeper is. Never, ever treat them like an obstacle. Treat them like they're the most important person in the company, because in that moment they are. They hold the keys to the kingdom.
One phone tip that I thought was absolutely crucial was, what color is your time?
Always. Always, always ask if it's a good time to talk before you launch into your reason for calling. Hey, did I catch you at a bad time? It shows so much respect. There is nothing worse than someone launching into a sales pitch when your office is figuratively on fire.
Okay, let's go to the party. You're walking in the door. What's the single biggest mistake people make?
Eating.
Eating. But there's free shrimp.
Munching or mingling. You have to pick one. You cannot be a big winner if you are juggling a drink in one hand and a plate of food in the other. You can't shake hands, you look occupied, and you're literally putting a barrier between yourself and everyone else in the room. Plus, you risk getting spinach in your teeth.
That is harsh, but so practical. So eat before you go.
Eat before you go. And when you walk in, use rubberneck the room. Don't scurry in like a mouse trying to find a corner. Stop right in the doorway, frame yourself, and then slowly survey the entire room.
It's the Hollywood entrance.
It is. It lets everyone see you, and more importantly, it lets you see the lay of the land. Then you use be the chooser. Don't stand around waiting for someone to approach you. Consciously pick your target and move towards them with purpose.
And your body language should be, come hither.
Come hither, hands. Keep your palms open. Keep your wrists visible. It's a universal, primal signal of acceptance and openness. If you're clutching your drink to your chest or crossing your arms, you're broadcasting, stay away from me.
And once you're in a conversation, you use tracking.
This is remembering the tiny, insignificant details. If they mention they're nervous about a dentist appointment on Tuesday, you ask them about it the next time you see them. If they mention they love a specific kind of coffee, you remember it. It makes people feel like movie stars to have their small details remembered. It shows you were truly deeply listening.
And eyeball selling.
This is just constantly watching their body language to see if they're buying what you're saying. If their eyes glaze over or they start shuffling their feet, it's time to change the topic or ask them a question. Don't just drone on. A big winner is always calibrating their approach in real time.
Okay, we're getting into the final stretch here, and this is where I think the book really shifts from just social skills to social strategy. This is section 7. Breaking the glass ceiling. These are the advanced moves.
This is the elite tier, yeah. And a lot of it has to do with how you handle mistakes, both your own and other people's.
There's a technique here called see no bloopers, hear no bloopers. And it's funny because my first instinct when someone spills a drink or trips over a word is to help, to say, "Oh no, are you okay? Don't worry about it."
Which is a kind instinct, but it actually draws more attention to their embarrassment. A big winner understands that the greatest gift you can give someone in an awkward moment is amnesia.
Amnesia.
Total, complete amnesia. If your friend spills wine on the white carpet or lets out an unfortunate noise or completely fumbles a joke, you did not see it. You did not hear it. You continue your sentence without a microsecond of a pause. You deny the reality of their mistake so completely that they can almost believe it never happened.
That requires an incredible amount of discipline to not even flinch.
It does, but it's the ultimate act of social grace. It protects their dignity. And on the flip side, when you're the one who makes a mistake, you use my goof, your gain.
This is the broken vase scenario, right?
Exactly. If you accidentally break a friend's cheap vase, you don't just apologize and offer to pay for it. You go out and buy them a much better, more beautiful vase. If you're late to a meeting, you don't just say sorry. You insist on buying lunch for everyone. You have to turn your negative into a net positive for them.
It rebalances the scorecard. And what about mea culpa?
This is taking the blame, even when it's not your fault, to save someone else's face. If you show up at a restaurant and the host can't find your reservation, you say to your guest, "Oh, I must have gotten the time wrong, I'm so sorry," even if you know the restaurant messed up. It diffuses tension and protects the other person.
Let's talk about favors. This is such a tricky area.
It is. The first rule is bear the buried YFM, WIIFM. What's in it for me?
So be upfront about your motives.
Be upfront. If you're asking for a favor, tell them immediately what's in it for them, or at least be honest that you need something. Don't pretend it's a social call for 20 minutes, and then spring your request on them. It's disrespectful of their time.
And tit for, tat.
Right. If you do someone a big favor, wait. Let them savor the favor. Don't call in the debt the next day. If you ask for a return favor too quickly, it feels like a transaction. If you wait a while, it feels like friendship.
Let's talk about safe havens.
This is so critical for anyone in business. Never, ever discuss tough, confrontational business at a social event. Parties are for pratter, light, fun chatter. Dinners for dining. If you ambush someone with a problem while they're trying to eat, you become a social pariah. You digest food, not problems.
And in terms of conversational leadership, empty their tanks.
If someone is really angry or upset or even just bursting with good news, let them get it all out. Don't interrupt with your own opinion. You can't pump new information into a full tank. Let them vent until they're completely empty. Then you can have a productive conversation.
And I love buttercups for their boss.
If you get great service from someone, don't just tip them well. Take 5 minutes and write a letter or an email to their boss praising them by name. It costs you nothing, and it can literally change that person's career. It's a power move that creates incredible goodwill and allies everywhere you go.
Finally, the great scorecard in the sky. This feels like the grand overarching principle of the whole book.
It is. Lowndes argues that in every single human interaction at every single moment, there is a hidden scorecard. Who needs whom more? Who has the higher status in this specific context?
And the big winner is the one who just ignores that score.
No. The big winner is the one who knows exactly what the score is at all times and plays accordingly with grace. If you have the lower score, you're the one asking for the favor. You're the junior employee. You pay deference. You don't interrupt. You wait. If you have the higher score, you have the power and the responsibility to put the other person at ease.
Like that story of the skier at the end of the book?
The super skier, yes. Lowndes was a novice, struggling on a narrow part of a ski slope, completely blocking the path, and this professional-looking skier comes zooming down behind her. He had the right of way. He had the higher score in terms of skill. He could have just yelled, "Track!" or "Get out of the way."
And he didn't.
He didn't. He gracefully stepped out of his groove, came to a stop beside her, smiled, and just said, "Beautiful day, isn't it?" He used his high status to make her feel comfortable and like an equal, not like an obstacle.
And that really is the summary of the whole philosophy, isn't it? It's not about being slick or manipulative. It's about awareness.
It's about making the people around you feel like big winners. Because if you can do that consistently, you inevitably become one yourself. It's about awareness and deference and making room for other people on the track.
I love that. So here's my final thought for you listening. We've just gone through this whole bag of tricks. But these social skills, at the end of the day, they aren't just tools for personal gain. They're a form of competence, a form of kindness. They're a way to make the world a little smoother and a little warmer for every single person you meet.
So the question to ask yourself is this. If you tracked your own social scorecard for just one day, how many times you used a flooding smile, how many times you rescued someone's story, how many times you made someone feel truly special, would you be a big cat or would you be a little stray?
That is the question. Go out there, try just one of these techniques today, maybe use the flooding smile, and see what happens. Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.